Go now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as if it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered unto the ears of the Lord of Sabbath. Ye have lived in the pleasure on earth and have been wanton. Ye have nourished your hearts as in a day of slaughter. Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doth not resist you. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hello?
Bunch of kids.
I, I thought I might open this one a little differently because it's been a rough week for me. I've been in the thick of this H1B debate on um, Twitter, and I have some things to say, but the this that James 5 verses came up, and I thought it might be a good intro. So,
Yeah, when the anger wells up, it hits a boiling point. And then bad things happen.
yeah,
But it's not okay. We're not boiling yet.
no,
Just simmering. This is a simmer.
well,
But let's talk about it.
yes, let's. Because it's actually interesting you brought that up, Steve, because my first observation, and I've mentioned that I worked for big tech before. I've been on both sides of the H1B system. Uh, and what was most surprising to me about this debate was the volcanic energy with which it exploded. People got mad. They got mad quickly, and it is still actually ongoing on Twitter 5 days later. So there's a huge amount of energy sitting right beneath the surface.
Well, I think, do you want to tell our audience how it started? And first of all, we've all heard about Trump derangement syndrome. Okay, that's what the woke people called the Trump supporters.
Mm-hmm.
They were believed in this Trump Messiah. He's going to come in and change it. Well, is a grain of truth in there. But I'm predicting that we will move into the Trump delusionment phase.
Disillusionment.
Disillusionment. Yeah, that's the word. Probably pretty quickly, probably February, maybe March. It could be even sooner than that, but maybe we're just seeing early. It's probably a tell that this is going to happen because you just told me how this came about. So maybe you want to explain that to our listeners.
Sure. So on December 25th, Christmas Day for all of you normies out there, a fellow named Sriram Krishnan posts on X about how the United States, in order to stay technologically competitive, needs to uncap the H1B visa program and import as many of the world's top tier talent as it can get its hands on. Okay, by itself, the tweet didn't go very far. Then Mr. Elon Musk picks up the tweet and retweets it or quote tweets it, whatever that's called. And it goes viral, of course, because everything he posts goes viral. But it did not go viral in the way he expected. See, he expected that people would just kind of nod their heads in solemn agreement. Instead, it exploded with people who were basically like, what do you mean? I would sum it up as the reaction of people as, we just spent a year and a half fighting a grueling campaign to try and get people to accept that we need to deport the illegals. And now you're telling me that we need unlimited legal immigration.
Well, a lot of the Trump supporters were of the STEM, well, let's just say the STEM guys,
The tech bros, yeah.
tech bros, were Trump supporters because he's going to make America great again.
Right.
Yes, I'm for that. That's my job. That's what I want to do. And that's how I earn my living. And you know what? Great. Now, all of a sudden, a couple of guys affiliated with Trump say, no, we're going to hire great, the elite, smart guys from the other side of the world to come in here. And some of these guys just got laid off. I mean, there's always some laid off. And you're going to replace me? I'm pissed. Why the hell did I vote for Mr. Trump if he's actually going to screw me over worse than Biden ever did?
Well,
I'm
it's
pissed.
interesting you mentioned that, because since January 1st of 2023, there have been 400,000 layoffs in the tech world. Now, that's not just engineers. There's a lot of other things in there. Entire DEI departments have been killed in those layoffs too. However, there is actually, let's see if I can find it. Oh yeah, here, we'll throw this up on the screen. Guys, I have tons of tweets from this, so we're gonna roll for a bit. H-1B visa stat. The top 30 H-1B visa employers laid off 84,556 people. At the same time, they sought 34,414 new H-1B foreign workers. And that does include Tesla. One of the things that happened is the internet autists got together, and all H-1B data is public, not the names of the people, the actual people, but all of what's been issued, what was applied. It's all public. And so they went, wait a minute, Tesla is built. There's about 1,500 of H-1B employees at Tesla right now. So, but I mean, if you want this is hard data. This is confirmed data. Okay.
But how many of these are hot chicks?
Almost none.
Damn it.
So
Wait.
Go ahead.
On behalf of the women, I want to ask this question. How many of these guys are 6 foot or taller?
You mean the guys you laid off?
The
or the guys you brought in?
H-1B visa recipients. How many of them are at least 6 foot tall?
Very, very few. The average height of an Indian is like 3 inches lower than the average height of the American.
Man, we need to get this message out to the women so they can join us in the fight against the H-1B. Because why would the women want all these short guys immigrating here? I mean, that makes no sense.
Steve, it's interesting you bring this up, because on December 26th, so overnight, December 25 to December 26th, there is a flood of Indian tweets that come out, and they basically say, there was one that actually said this, so I'm going to use this as an example. He said, "We are coming to take your 6-figure jobs and fuck your women." That's a quote. It has since been deleted, so I couldn't pull it up for this episode. Yes, Nick. Good. Well, but that's and Twitter was full of this stuff on the overnight December 25, 26. And it got so bad that this is a rumor. I could not confirm it, but there was an Indian ethno-nationalist blogger who actually put out a blog that said, guys, knock it off, stop it, you're harming the diaspora. And I couldn't confirm this, but that was the because it did stop about 18 hours later, and so
Yeah, sounds plausible.
yeah, that's again, the tweets have been mass deleted. The Twitter still has screenshots if you want them. I did actually see them in real time, but I couldn't pull them up for this show because they're deleted. So if you want like the raw actual data, you know, because I am a data guy. Of course, we're going to have some data. This is applications by employer. Let's see, got to pull it over this way. Cognizant is a huge Indian outsourcing firm. They put in 90,000 applications. Google put in, oh my goodness, Google, 51,000. Infosys is another huge name in outsourcing, also an Indian company. Tata, Indian. Wipro, Indian. Capgemini is not. IBM. But look at Tech Mahindra. Well, of course, we know what they are. So we have to go back. You know, and it's and this guy's got this. This is Rod Sterling or Robert Sterling. He's a CFO M&A guy, and
So are they immigrating here single or married?
Oh, well, this gets into a topic called chain migration. Okay. So the H-1B is a weird visa. It's called a dual intent visa. It is a temporary non-immigrant visa is how they describe it. It's a 3-year visa that can be extended up to 7 years. However, it's what's classified as dual intent, which means yes, legally you're a temporary non-immigrant. However, once you get here, you can apply to become an immigrant. Okay. So they can get a visa. Now, because we use something called family-based immigration, you can then apply to bring your family, and that's called an H-1B2. You can bring your spouse and your kids. And the moment they get here, they get something called an EAD or employment authorization. I forget what the D stands for, but it's an employment authorization. As many of you know, Elena is an immigrant to the United States, which is why I know how this works. She got an EAD before she got her green card as well. That's just pretty normal for how the process works. So you can apply to bring in your immediate family. You can apply to bring in your brothers, mothers, sisters, daughters, grandparents, all of them. And
So if the biryani isn't good enough, can't find a good woman to cook you good biryani in India, he can hopefully find one over here.
Well, they are here.
I wish them all the luck in the world.
Yeah. The point is not to make
They don't cook here.
The point of this is there's a direction we're going with this, and the point is not to get lost in the weeds of all of there's a lot of rabbit holes you can go down. Look, Amazon, Microsoft, Google shows up again. There's a lot of data in this this thread if you guys want to take a look. Anyway, but the point is that there was an outpouring, a volcanic eruption of anger over because now I'm a tech guy. This has been my entire career. H-1Bs got popular back in the mid 2000s. They were created in 1990. We will actually get into a little bit of the history of how they got created, and Steve's going to have some fun with this based on our conversation from before the show. So for me, I guess I didn't, and this is where I have to admit to being a little unaware, is because I grew up in tech around this. I didn't realize how much people didn't know about it. And what happened is on Christmas Day, the entire MAGA particular coalition got an education. And I think one of the things that I saw was actually a bunch of moms coming on and saying, wait a minute, you're telling me that I'm spending all of this time and money to get my kids ready for an engineering degree that's supposed to be a good job that pays a lot of money so that they can have a better life than me, and you're just going to hand it over to a foreigner? Wait, and they're going, wait a minute. So the what I saw was MAGA kind of, they mentally broke. Like, you fight that year and a half grueling campaign against illegal immigration to find out that the people you voted in just want to do the same thing, but with proper paperwork attached. I think I can understand where they're coming from. I think I can understand why they might be a little torqued off. So, and here's another example. This guy fires this is the guy who fired 900 staffers over Zoom. This made the news. He was roundly, mocked and derided for doing this. And then we find out later that he hired 1,000 out of India. Now, they're not actually coming here. That's a whole nother thing that people haven't even discovered yet, and I'm waiting for them to discover the L1 visa. That's going to be a fun conversation because that visa is unlimited. The L1 is basically if you're a multinational corporation, you have an office in a foreign country, you can apply for an L1 as it's called the intra-company transfer visa. So you can apply for an L1 and they can come work here. And it's an unlimited visa program. So, we're not done having this visa fight yet. H-1B is just the tip of the iceberg. So,
well, that L1, that's the upper tier. H-1B is the lower tier.
No, you're thinking of the O1. Guys, there's a visa
for that intercompany transfer. You're already in the system.
Correct.
You're a known quantity. You're not entry level. A lot of the H-1B are fairly low entry level. At least that's been my experience.
That was. Go ahead.
It's probably evolved from there.
No,
if someone has 5 years experience in India and you bring them over here, yeah, okay, not quite entry level, but still kind of entry level because you're going to hire them. You're going to hire an experienced person at a lower level job, but they may get promoted pretty quick.
So one of the things that our beloved internet autists did, and I don't know if it's in this thread or not, is they actually went through the H-1B data and looked at the different jobs that are being brought over. They include line cooks, gas station attendants, let's see, ballet dancers, let's see what else. Hotel front, so front office, so your front desk staff at the hotel. That was another popular one, and it was interesting. Somebody actually brought up Trump's.
I go to a lot of hotels, guys. Man, I can tell you,
it's true, isn't it? It's true,
man.
Right, and so Trump wasn't lying when he says, "Oh yeah, I love the H-1B program. I use it all the time." And somebody went and found all the different Trump H-1Bs. And the thing about these jobs is we're talking about, some of them go as low as $25,000 a year. A lot of $40,000 a year jobs. A lot of entry level like graphics designers and, just these are jobs that any American could take. And this whole bullshit about, well, but the Americans just don't want them. Do you know how many kids I know want to be graphic designers when they grow up? It's art for money, right? Bullshit.
Yeah, but we got a bunch of special snowflakes too.
We do.
True. I have a theory on that.
But
I want to get into it right now. We'll just keep going on this.
Yeah,
thread for a
we'll
while.
just keep going. So this is a long post. I am not going to read it. This is a post by a fellow named Theo Wald. And Theo Wald was the former deputy assistant to President Trump in his prior administration. And he wrote all of the legislation for a new legal immigration framework. And he talks about all of the different things that go on with it, the carve out special favors, he's talking. Oh, here he's talking about the difference between O1s and H1s, and this is a guy who literally wrote the book on what immigration should be. If you haven't read the post, go look him up. He's just Rio Theo Wald on X. And here he's talking about, it can't just be one industry. There it is. It's all of them. Even trucking, by the way, that's called an H2 visa, Steve, just for you there. We're importing truckers now.
Hey, the entry level truck CDL drivers, mostly foreign.
Yeah. So, but it turns out that, and this is the part of the show that Steve is going to love, because it tickles his way of thinking. This is an article written by Eric Weinstein on March 8th of 2027 or 2017. Guys, if I screw up today, my brain is fried. I have not gotten enough sleep for the past 5 days.
127, damn.
2017. And he actually goes into the history of how we got the H-1B, and specifically why we got the H-1B. And this article, I can't read it all. It's a typical he's an academic, and so he wrote a long article that actually explains it all. But he was looking
but don't we do that type of stuff here?
We do that type of stuff.
We just talk about it.
Yeah. I don't know that reading all of this is necessary either. But he actually was studying this in the late 90s. And he knew that it happened, but he didn't know how or why. And
okay, Eric Weinstein, I believe he graduated from Harvard with a physics degree, and he's a name, he's a personality out there. Smart guy. I've listened to some of his interviews. But he's specifically concerned about upper level, really super smart scientists and what's happening to their employment opportunities and what's happening to our elite universities and the education of future generations. So that's why, I'll read it. During the late 1990s, I became convinced that in order to orchestrate lower wages for scientists, there would have to be a competent economic study done to guide the curious policy choices that have resulted in the flooded market for STEM PhDs. He's basically saying somebody planned this. I can't believe that this just happens. So I'm going to look in and see where and how they guided and planned this.
Okay, I'll read the next bit here. I began a painstaking search of the literature and discovered just such a study immediately preceded the release of the foolish demography studies that provided the public justification for the Immigration Act of 1990. This needle was located in the haystack of documents that the NSF, the National Science Foundation, was forced to turn over when the House investigated the NSF for faking alarms about a shortfall.
Fuck.
Oh yeah.
Bullshit.
Oh yeah. This is we're talking about facts here. These are facts that are documented in the public congressional record. You can go look this stuff up, okay? The title of the study This is the key paragraph and the one I wanted to read. The title of this study was "The Pipeline for Scientific and Technical Personnel. Past lessons applied to future changes of interest to policymakers and human resource specialists." Guys, this was the first DEI. Okay. The study was undated and carried no author's name. Eventually, I gathered my courage to call up the NSF and demand to speak to the study's author. After some hemming and hawing, I was put through to a voice belonging to a man I had never heard of named Miles Boylan. In our conversation, it became immediately clear that it was produced in 1986, as predicted, immediately before the infamous and now disgraced demographic shortfalls. The author turned out, again as predicted, not to be a demographer, but a highly competent PhD in economics who was fully aware of the functioning of the wage mechanism. But, as the study makes clear, the problem being solved was not a problem of talent, but one of price. Scientific employers had become alarmed that they would have to pay competitive market wages to U.S. PhDs with other options. The study's aim was not to locate talent, but to weaken its ability to bargain with employers by using foreign labor to undermine the ability to negotiate for new PhDs.
It sounds interesting in that we had a episode on IQ and demographics.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yes.
it's interesting. Just
It,
saying
it
that's interesting. I'll let
well, it
you develop that episode, so I'll let you go ahead on that one.
well, there's actually a lot of our episodes in the past actually deal with they're around the edges of this topic, and it wasn't even really intentional on our part. Um, if you want to talk about our episode, How They Fight, a large chunk of the pro-immigration is a Mott and Bailey argument. If you want to talk about IQ, one of the posts I was involved with was pointing out that the average IQ of India is 76. I believe it's 125 IQ, which is considered aggressively average for a programmer. India has 0.0002% of its population that meets IQ of 125.
Man, this whole fucking we got them beat here, guys.
You
Yes.
do. But here's the other thing. India should be pissed. They should be fucking pissed. Because you're stealing all our smart people.
Are we though?
Hell no. Because it does. You steal all the smart people out of a nation, you're not going to do well. I mean, it has a huge impact on their GDP and their well-being and all that.
Yeah, I am currently switching around, guys. I have so on that topic, we are not getting their best. I'm not going to say much, only to say that I worked with some of them. I worked as a contractor for one of the big tech people, and I show up. This is my first day. I get access to the code because I'm a software engineer. And the third file I open up, the third code file I open up has an engineering design flaw that I learned not to do 5 years earlier. Maintained by an Indian development team. They're not our best.
A team, not just one person, a team.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's always a team. But anyway, no, they are not actually sending our best. They're sending us their best. These guys are. Some of them are really good, like really, really good. I'm not going to say that they don't exist over there. They do. I've worked with them.
Sure.
It's just it. The problem is the tyranny of the IQ bell curve, and it is tyrannical. It doesn't care.
And we can, to just demonstrate this. It relates. Men have a broader span, a fatter tail at the extreme ends. So, and this area of techie programming stuff appeals to men. And there are more higher IQ men because they have the fatter curve than women.
Yep.
It's getting dominated by men. Does that mean there are 0 women? No. At least I think there's probably a handful of women in there. But
Yeah, there are.
pretty damn rare.
They are. It just is what it is. So now everyone's kind of going, okay, why did we spend a half hour talking about what was essentially a Twitter food fight? And what the hell does this have to do with the red pill? Well, it is my contention that this has quite a bit to do with the red pill, because the red pill does something that it's going to get the red pill in trouble if we keep doing it. But first I have to keep building my case. So what I have here is a video, and it's 5 minutes long, but I would like you guys to I would like you guys to watch and listen. I mean, the video quality is terrible because it's 17 years old. Put it up on screen. This is from a conference, a law conference, Cohen and Grigsby's, Cohen Law, there they all are, 7th Annual Immigration Law Update, held on May 15th, 2007. This is a real thing. I saw this video 10 years ago and mostly forgotten about it until it came up again. But this is a real thing. So just to give you a bit of background, they are describing how to do H-1Bs as a lawyer.
We're now in the recruitment phase. We're starting out the perm process. We are going to the...
Can you hear it, Steve?
Yeah.
Okay,
yep.
Cool.
We've spoken with the HR manager, we've spoken with the employee, we've spoken with the immigration specialist, and we are ready to roll here. We're starting the recruitment campaign. And the person calls in and speaks to Jen Pack. Jen, what type of recruitment is required for the perm process?
The last required recruitment step is 2 Sunday advertisements in a newspaper of general circulation in the area of employment. In the Pittsburgh area, we typically use the Post-Gazette or the Tribune Review. Now, the way...
Okay, guys, did you hear that? 2 Sundays in a print newspaper. And then she goes on to describe the newspapers that she uses and for this conference is in Pittsburgh. So here's the newspaper you use in Pittsburgh.
Nobody goes looking for a tech job in the want ads.
Oh, as we go, you'll see that this is part of a larger plan to make sure that you never find out about the job.
Agents being offered to the foreign national as part of the green card process must only be included in the internal posting, and that's the document that you hang on the bulletin board.
So Jen, putting all that together, what is if we would have a sort of a standard 3 options, what do we typically use as our 3 other recruitment sources?
Most of the time it would be the newspaper's website when it's posted there in conjunction with the physical print ad, a local newspaper, and employer's website. Those are the ones that I see most often.
Yeah, because our goal here, of course, is to meet the requirements, number 1, but also do so as inexpensively as possible, keeping in mind our goal. And our goal is clearly not to find a qualified and interested U.S. worker.
Boom.
Wow. I mean, he actually comes out and says it. But the whole premise of the H-1B is if there are no qualified U.S. workers,
Yes.
then we can hire international. Or if there's not enough for this particular job, yeah, then we can go find somebody elsewhere in the world. They're cooking the books. They're scamming the system. Wait, he's a lawyer. Oh, never mind. That's what his job is.
Oh, but it gets better. This is only part of it. He's not done yet.
And, that, in a sense, that sounds funny, but it's what we're trying to do here. We are complying with the law fully, but our objective is to get this person a green card and to get through the labor certification process. So, sir,
our objective is to get this person a green card.
Backdoor.
Right.
Trojan horse.
Remember what I said. H-1B is a dual intent visa that is a non-immigrant temporary worker. But this guy says, nope, our thing is we want to get him a green card.
Certainly, we are not going to try to find the place where the applicants are going to be the most numerous. We're going to try to find a place where, again, we're complying with the law and hoping and likely not to find qualified and interested worker applicants. So that's the process that we will go through with you from the beginning on, where Jen or somebody else on our team will go over with you what 3 options are we going to select. Okay, we've selected the options, and now we get resumes back. There's a 30-day window, as I mentioned, where people can apply, and during that period of time, the employer, underline, the employer is required to review those resumes. Unfortunately, although we can help, it is the employer's responsibility to go through these resumes. So, Jen Barton, since you do this a lot, what exactly is the employer's obligation?
The employer is obligated to review all the resumes that are received in response to all the ads, the internal postings, the online listings, and what we do is we provide a chart. The chart has all of the stated minimum requirements that we've shown to the Department of Labor, so that's what we're going to require for the position. We have everybody check off, show what qualifications the client or the employee does have or doesn't have, the applicant has or doesn't have, and whether they're interested or not interested in the position. And what we mean by if they're interested, if they don't like the salary, if they don't like the work location, they're not interested. Or if they just don't like the job itself, they're not interested. Those are ways we can disqualify them, get them out of the market, and focus on the ones who might be more qualified. If it gets to the point where somebody's looking like they're very qualified, we ask them to have the manager of that specific position step in and go over the qualifications with them. If necessary, schedule an interview, go through the whole process to find a legal basis to disqualify them for this particular.
Did you hear that? The whole purpose of getting the resumes is to prove that they looked, and then the purpose of the interview is to find some reason to disqualify you.
You want me to tell you my story now?
Yeah, I can take this. Put this away. Yeah, that she just goes on and talks.
Okay. So, as many of you know, I have a degree in mechanical engineering. And I worked for over 25 years as in the pipeline industry, project engineer, managing huge projects, million dollar projects. Then I went into consulting, energy management consulting, negotiated electric contracts, signed, was the owner's engineer for a power university power plant, and I understand things, and as a mechanical engineer, and make it work. Well, okay, I'd kind of exhausted my employment opportunities in the pipeline field and in this consulting field, so I needed to kind of switch and go into industry as a mechanical engineer. Nah, not gonna happen. Guy with 25 years experience. Oh, I'd look at a resume. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Or a job posting, yeah, I could do that. So I'd go in and interview. They say, well, here's the 5 requirements. And I say, well, I know this one and I know this one. Those other 3, I don't know them, but I know those 2 pretty well. Oh, you don't meet all the qualifications. Of course not. Nobody meets all the qualifications. Now, if it was an honest hiring manager, my boss, and if I would have gotten through to him and he intended on hiring somebody, if he really wanted to hire somebody, he'd say, well, shit, those 2 things. All I got to do is teach you those other 3 things. Damn, you've been around for a long time. Yeah, you'll figure it out in a couple of weeks. In 6 weeks, you're going to be productive, and yeah, it'll work. But no, you don't get to him. The HR manager says, well, no. You see, we need that person right now. We need someone with the knowledge to hit the ground running. Yeah, okay. Didn't get the job. Then, you go back and check 6 months later. Guess what? They still have a job opening.
Well,
So the system is such crap. And in my entire career, I don't think I ever got a job through HR.
oh,
got it.
you won't. You won't.
I mean, maybe my first one, because I interviewed with the engineering manager. Then when I moved over to someone else, I knew him. Then I had my resume online and some engineer read it and found me and said, hey, yeah, we can hire this guy. And then when I needed another job, I went back to a buddy who was actually junior to me at one time, but he hired me at his company. So it was all through connections. Never in the HR department. Yeah.
Well,
I don't
okay.
have much good to say about him.
So one of the subplots that was ongoing in this whole fight, and this subplot was kind of led by a fellow who you've actually whose tweets you've seen on the channel before, Eric S. Raymond, and his point is that the purpose. So HR, I mean, remember, HR is how we got DEI. The HR was, yeah, I see you there, Nick. HR brought us DEI, but they learned many, many years ago that HR is the arbiter. They are the HI frontline recruiter, the guy who's reading your resume and deciding whether or not to even show you to the hiring manager is the most powerful person in the company, because they can determine who the hiring manager sees and who's the hiring manager does not see. And it's fascinating. A business owner actually commented underneath, and he said something to the effect of, and occasionally they get found out, because he said, I was expecting a resume so he had a friend apply to a job because he knew the friend would be good for it. He said, I was expecting to see this guy's resume show up on my desk, and it didn't. I got all these resumes for absolute crap, just total terrible fits. And so he actually opened up his HR tracker software and look at the reject piles, and he was like, holy shit, this HR person is either incompetent or willfully doing this. Fired the HR person, hired his friend. And he had no idea. And so when you hear these business leaders talking about, oh, there's a tech shortage, we aren't counting the fact that HR could well be lying up the stream, because and we know this is true in the tech world.
Well, okay. First of all, HR is women.
Yes.
Not tech guys in there.
Well, okay, I'll get into
Okay.
that, but yes.
Okay, so in any industry, it could be heavy industry. You could be refining oil. It could be pipeline. It could be manufacturing motors. Whatever it is, HR person goes through university in HR training. They don't know diddly squat about the core business of the company or what all these words mean. So
They don't.
So because they don't know anything, they go to the hiring manager. Well, what are the skills you need? And then they write down 4 or 5 things. Draw a little square box. Okay, that's the check box. They don't have a clue as to what's important. And he only said he needs 3 things. Well, 3 isn't enough. We need 5. So he tells them another
Mhm.
2 that he doesn't give a shit about. Okay, so now they go and they check resumes and they interview people for the first screen. They do not know diddly squat about what that guy needs, what the business is, or anything, and they're clueless. They really are clueless.
Yes, a lot of them are clueless. However, in the tech industry, it's worse than that. 90% of all tech recruiters are Indian. And one of the things that I was told years ago was never give your resume to an Indian. And here's what they do. And this is I know I'm going to sound horrible for saying this. What they do is they'll take your resume and they will put their cousin or the preferred Indian H-1B applicant's name in your resume and submit your resume as if it's their resume. Okay. Or they will take the various skills and language you use on your resume and they will insert it into the resume of the Indian in a process called spicing. You can go look up resume spicing in Google. There's articles about it. This is all known stuff that they do. So if you want a job in tech, you pretty much have to talk to an Indian, and you're pretty much just going to get your resume ripped off. So yes, HR will in fact lie upstream.
And they're lying. But once you're hired, kind of hard to fire somebody once you're in the system. And especially if you're an ethnic.
Well,
because then it could lead to discrimination.
Oh yeah. Well, Chief gets it right. Chief says in-group preference. That's exactly what it is. And I want to make it clear here. I am not I'm not bitter about any of this. This has been my entire life. For me, it's just another day ending in Y. And frankly, I was good enough that it's not been a problem for me. I don't know if I want to tell that story. It'd get way too easy to identify me if I told that story. But let's just say that there was one particular job where it was like I was the only person in the world who could do it. That's all I'll say about that. But so it's like, yeah, you can if you're the very top, if you're the very tip top of talent in the United States, yeah, you can get in. But oh, what does that look like? Oh boy, here we go. Oh yeah. This is an actual headline published by Bloomberg. 90 only so despite being 31% of the country in the S&P 100, so the top 100 companies in the United States, only out of more than 300,000 jobs, only 6% went to white people. This is DEI that we're mostly talking about here, of course. But the point is that, I mean, eventually, as a guy, you just look at this and you go, well, I'm fucked no matter what I do. I have to be the literal best of the best to have a prayer.
Can you say that again? 6% of what number?
Of the 300 jobs that were added to the S&P 100. So this is the top 100 companies in the United States. Only 6% of those 300 jobs went to white people. Not white men, just white people.
That's just mind-boggling.
They were proud of this. That's why this headline got published.
So that's the 100 biggest, generally biggest companies in this country.
Yes, sir.
And they're basically not hiring white people. And of those 6% white people, you can pretty much guess that over half of them would be women because they're also a minority.
That's correct. For the past 2 years, if you want a job as a white man, you pretty much just need to go find a job in construction or something as day labor. This is these.
You know what?
Actual.
Hit me up. Tell you how to become a truck driver.
Okay.
And you do, if you're a union truck driver, you're doing way the hell above average. It's not a bad job.
And so
I drive daily. I'm not over the road. I'm home every night. Well, I have to get up early though.
Yeah, you do. And I'm not an early riser. Do you guys have any late shifts?
Yeah. You could work all night long. They have a shift that starts at 7 and you get done about 5 a.m. 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. Would that work for you?
I don't know. So this is Eric S. Raymond again. He was involved in this fight pretty heavily. And he's talking to Musk because Musk actually follows him. So, but he says, as long as there are stories like this, okay, this is the story he's referring to. 1 in 6 hiring managers have been told to stop hiring white men. Okay. Because here's the key point. Because 1 in 6 is only the number of hiring managers that would admit to this. The actual number is almost certainly higher. Now, Eric S. Raymond is the kind of guy who, given his credentials, could go out and find work anywhere. Again, he is not affected by this. But the comment here is great, and this is a bit of a taste of where we're headed this evening. Merit, no quotas. Sure. Yes, merit in the United States is going to get you so far. Okay. Now, just some other, a lot of people got involved in this one. This is Carl Benjamin, who I'm sure some of you know from days of yore, Sargon. Dispossessing native workers and replacing them with cheaper foreigners was one of the core reasons for the fall of the Roman Empire or the Roman Republic. Yep, that is a historically accurate statement. And then the thread goes on to give like the autistic history of why exactly that was.
And this is the history of the United States.
Yep.
There were the natives, which at one time meant white people. There was a nativist movement. We white guys who were here first, or Europeans who were here first. No, they'd get too much power in industry. They'd start wanting more wages. They'd lock them out and go hire a bunch of Irish or Welsh or Norwegians or Swedes or Italians or whatever. We'll bring those over here, put them in our plant. They did that. Hey, America is full of these stories. It's finally hitting the brainiacs now.
Yep.
But there's nothing new here. This is nothing new. It may be more planned because they have to implement more laws, whereas the robber barons could just do this shit. Now you have to contrive laws and plan ahead to do this.
Yep.
But if that study was written in 86,
yep,
to be implemented in 1990, you can bet that this was planned earlier than that. And now I'll give you a little bit of education my education experience. Small town Minnesota, graduated with a class of 60, 30 guys. 5 of the 30 guys became engineers. Okay. Intact families. Everybody, even the not so bright kids, they could all read. They could all do basic math. All of them. That's not even true today. And you know what? Chemistry, physics, half like 20, the chemistry and physics and upper level math. Oh, we didn't get into calc. But those classes had 20, over 20 of us, 1/3 of the class. And there was a lot of male teachers. And none of this new math bullshit. We actually had textbooks. We had to do homework. And you know what? It worked. And so the education quality was higher, and there were fathers in the home. And now you go back to some of those pictures of the NASA control room. Damn, you look around there, and it's all white guys with pocket protectors full of pens, all dweebs. Hey, we educated enough really smart guys to go to the moon. Oh, wait. When did India go to the moon? Oh, I guess they didn't. But now, for some reason, we have a shortage of smart guys in this country, so we have to import them. Don't you think that there's kind of a theme here? Degrade the family, get rid of fathers. Yeah, we're going to dumb down education, no child left behind. Then we're going to implement this, and we're going to bring in foreigners, and we're going to basically change the fabric of the country, minimize the power that the families had, which was fathers. Yeah, we're going to go this way. Oh, you think this is just a he's a conspiracy theorist. You know what? Fuck you. You could, if it was just a conspiracy, every once in a while, something would have to happen to turn it back in the other direction. No, if things are moving on a trajectory to further degradation, you can pretty much bet that someone, someplace, is planning it.
Well,
because there are also smart people out there like me who can look at that and say, I don't like where this is going. I think we should change some of this shit. But nobody can change it because they're not allowed to.
Well, and there's another factor here too. Okay, if you're a Zoomer and you see all of these, engineering jobs going overseas, are you going to go get a STEM degree? No, you're not. Why would you? You already know where it's going. You already know you can't get the job. You've been told. I mean, you were told by Bloomberg you're not going to get the job. You were told right here. Like this is a Bloomberg headline. You're told you're not going to get the job. Okay.
You can be the smartest guy graduating in your engineering class, software, computer engineering class. Guess what? Your skin is the wrong color. And you're a male. Yeah, we're going to find a reason not to hire you.
Mm-hmm. So this is okay. So we're talking about Gen Z, and you've probably heard about the Gen Z burnout crisis. Oh no, they're all over TikTok telling how burned out they are. I kind of agree with this guy. This perspective is just evil. Powerful people create nightmare culture and labor conditions. This is what Steve was talking about before for Zoomers, and then use their understandable reactions to this kind of degradation to justify replacing them entirely. Right. I don't know anything about any of these. Well, I know about a couple of these Twitter people, but this is just me pulling reactions out of this going on. So if you see people you don't like, I'm sorry.
That guy sees it. That we're on this trajectory. I see it. Are you going to try and tell me that there are no bureaucrats smart enough to see this? There are no lawmakers smart enough to see this. There are no people in the Democratic Party or Republican Party smart enough to see this and say, holy shit, we got a problem here. We better change some of our policies or, yeah, we're kind of fucked in the future. And the fact that that's not happening implies to me that the outcome is wanted and planned. Just
Well,
saying.
I think at least as far as politicians go, I think they see it. They publicly talk all the time about how, things are getting bad. I mean, all of MAGA, all of Trump's campaign was how we were going to make America great again. And it's interesting. A large number of the reactions to this were, wait a minute. So I thought, and they were going, wait a minute. I thought make America great again meant make America great again for Americans. And people are going, holy shit, what's going on here? We have to uncap legal immigration now? Like, and this is an argument I saw quite a bit, is this question of, is America a nation and a home, or is it a corporate economic zone? And I think that's the actual fight that's going on right now, in a broad sense. But the MAGA types were, as I said at the beginning of the show, this thing broke them. Like, they had just fought this 1.5 year long war, and now they're being told that, yeah, we're just going to do it, but with more paperwork. And Trump, by the way, has since affirmed that this is what he wants to do. So, and if they actually do this, the Republicans are going to lose the Congress and Senate in a landslide in 2026. I will be over here eating copious amounts of popcorn and laughing my ass off, because I saw it coming. We saw it coming here. And so, but for the red pill, there's a bit more of a specific problem over the next couple of years. We can take it out of the realm of politics, and we can get down to the red pill here a little bit. Go apply for a job and build your career. Whoops. Looks like all the entry-level positions are gate-kept by either menopausal harridans, whose religion commands them to hire anyone but white men. Yes. Or ethnic H-1B mafias channeling all jobs to their co-ethnics. That's a bit superlative, but roughly. Too bad you're wasted all that time grinding through an expensive engineering degree. Wait, where are you going? Why are you dropping out of university to make TikTok videos? And it's actually funny. Somebody else said it was a joke, but I think there's a bit of truth to this. They said, look, the average Zoomer, the average Gen Z, has a higher likelihood of becoming the next PewDiePie than they do of succeeding in an engineering career. And we are shocked and amazed that people don't want to go into engineering careers. Wow. Yeah, don't buy it. But this concept of grinding kept on coming up as a response to this debate. And this guy right here, oh man. I have never been more ashamed to be an American male as I am after watching so-called masculine MAGA men break down at the thought of having to compete with foreigners for a job, such effeminate and beta behavior. Okay, Mr. Todd Hagopian, you and I, we're going to have an MMA fight, okay? But I'm going to cut off both your hands, pluck out one of your eyes, and break one of your knees. And that is true competition. That is the purest form of competition, is kneecapping your opponent and then saying, come on, bro, don't you want to compete? You should just get out there and compete, man. Look, competition as a as a banner only works. Yeah, Tacticus, mere flesh wound, exactly. um, you know, competition as a banner. And look, I love competition. I believe in competition. I'm good enough to succeed at most things I do. I love that. But it only works if the fight is fair. It only works if both fighters are competent and I hate to use the word fair, but the rules have to be the same. They both have to be in equal condition. Another example would be saying, okay, we are going to give the Chicago Bears the ability to do their kickoffs from the 50-yard line instead of the 20-yard line because they've had a really bad time of it. And that is, and that's and all the other teams in the NFL be like, what the hell? It's not about equality of outcome. It's about making sure that the rules are equally applied to all. And as we have spent the past hour proving with the video on the lawyers and the headlines from Bloomberg, the base rules do not allow white men in particular, but men in general, the ability to compete. What you're really saying? Go ahead. No, go ahead, Steve.
Let me say where this goes. Okay, because I've been in the professional side, been an exempt employee and a non-exempt employee. Hey, I'm a union guy now. I'm a Teamster. I get paid overtime. I don't negotiate for my wage. The union does. It's collective bargaining. This guy is a traitor. Guy wrote that tweet because he's saying every man for himself. No, the tribal, we're all kind of should have a tribal mentality. We're in this together, boys. We need to fight together. Well, that's the reason for unions. They went in there and said, yeah, you're going to, we better hang together or we'll hang separately. So they banded together as a group to get something done. Now, is it all good? No. Is there corruption in there? Yes. Do the best people get rewarded? Not necessarily. Everybody has to have a basic level of competence, but we all are in it together. And I got somebody who has my back, and collectively we actually we've accomplished a lot more in wages and benefits than we could individually. So you could disband the union and I can be the best driver, most reliable, all that shit. And I still would not make as much money under that scenario competing on my own as I would competing with my brothers, union brothers. And then under the union rules, I can still be the highest performing guy, but I don't make any more than the dumb shit. But
So
you know
just
what?
because
He's
there's no
getting his job done.
Just because there's no utopia, but that doesn't mean we should embrace nihilism or nihilism.
I think Nick's figured out where I'm actually taking this. I like working with smart people. Well, you're talking about working together, Steve. Here's a tweet. It's a long tweet from a fellow named Bow-Tied Ranger. Now, Ranger here refers to the U.S. Army Ranger Corps, Ranger units. Okay. And he actually talks about this idea that you just need to hustle more and that you just need to, grind harder. And here, let's see. Somebody actually mentioned the 80-hour work week. Chief, yeah, you mentioned the 80-hour work week. Yeah, even the Puritans would be against an 80-hour work week. I agree. And it turns out that, okay, Rangers are elite. These guys are literal apex predators. All of you red pill guys, out there thumping your chest about, how you've got all this, you've got the mansion and you've got the workout room and you've got the cars. Yeah, this guy could kill you with his thumb before you realized you were in a fight. Okay, this is an actual apex predator, and here he is denigrating and sort of just shitting all over your hustle culture, your hustle bro culture. And he goes on to talk about, younger guys would try to do this hardcore, just grind, always be working. And then they would blow up and, and it doesn't work well. And, in the Army, they have ways of doing that. They have the non-commissioned officers, they have the experienced guys who hold them back. But I mean, we're talking about some of the hardest things that humans will do physically. Special operations is as physically demanding as it gets. And here's what he has to say about it. This alpha worker 80-hour work week discourse is laughable. It's not real. No one in special operations, big law, or investment banking actually sustains working such a tempo for very long. And then, he goes on and, he's talking about what it actually looks like. Here's his opinion of it, though. It's both fake and lazy advice. If you hired a running coach and all they ever told you was to run harder, you'd think they were an absolute moron and immediately stop listening. No different with these alpha worker 80-hour work week gurus. Okay? He just told the red pill where to go stuff itself. Okay? Run harder is not advice.
You mean some of the red pill? Not all of us say that crap.
Well, that's true. That is true. Not all of us say that crap. Yes, you caught me there, Nick. But the red pill, at least the red pill of the past, I'd say 3 years, very definitely has this nihilistic, just do better, and it's every man for himself sort of view. Go ahead, Steve.
True enough. But doesn't the church have the same motivation? Build a better beta?
Yes.
Oh,
Poor Nick. He has his kids.
He wants to talk about this one.
oh, they know it.
They showed up just in time.
Oh gosh. Oh yeah. So yeah, the church. Yeah. Oh,
on your thing, so
Get
that's
outta here.
why you went down in your.
get out of here. Oh yeah. So the church, right? Hey, just love more, sacrifice more, be a better leader, be a servant leader. You need to serve her more. The reason why you have all these relationship problems, man, it's just because you're not loving enough. You need to just well, you got to do like marital counseling. You got to submit to the elders. They got to like come in and like, you know, observe every fucking element of your life. And the one thing that they find, oh, he's a bad man. Oh, he blew his top here at this one time, right? While they ignore, everything else going on. And they castrate him, they cut off his balls essentially, right? And they say, oh, you just need to basically just do what your woman wants, and then you will have peace and a peace, if you know what I'm saying. But maybe for a month.
So the red pill and the church are doing the same thing. You're having problems. You don't have a woman, you're getting divorced. Hey, buddy, you just need to step up. You need to step up your game. You need to work harder. You need to spend some more time at the gym. You let your body go. You need to get this, dominant mentality. This is what you need to do. So, well, all this shit with the H-1B visa, which is kind of a tell of what's going on in our world. Well, all this is going on. Your solution is not to go to the source of the problem. It's you need to be a better man so you can compete with all this shit that is fucking with your life.
Well, and it's shit that you are intentionally kneecapped from or prevented from being able to actually compete in it all. It's like you're telling people to go compete in fields that they are not allowed to compete in. Congratulations. And that's why these guys are saying, "Oh, this is a low IQ take." That's a different one. It's a different tweet on this list. But it's let's see, which one is it? Here we go. Hustle and grind bros come to X and find out it's not as receptive of an audience here. And that's kind of true. The red pill content does not do as well on X. Better for them to stay on YouTube with the low IQ 20-somethings who are easily impressed and not smart enough to look into the gurus. There's a bitter pill for us in the red pill in this message. And that is that our takes are what this guy says, fake and lazy. And the church does the same thing. Just be better is lazy advice. You're not actually helping anybody solve a problem. You're not helping men solve their problems. No, if you want to help men solve their problems, you're going to have to get down here in the mud and you're going to have to work. You're going to have to work. Like, you're going to have to actually work, not 80-hour alpha worker. You're going to have to do work that sacrifices your own status. You're going to have to get some mud on your fingers here. Okay? You're going to have to make actual changes, and those changes will make your life worse. Because your life is based on exploiting people with this fake and lazy advice. Yeah, exactly, Chief. Oh, Tacticus, same vapid arguments they like to throw at us. Jobs American workers are not willing to do. They blame, shift, and deflect, and that it's not affordable to tax anything. Exactly. It's Steve was talking about controlled opposition, and it's quite possible that the red pill has been allowed to grow because we give the same message to young men that the church gives to young men. Just be better. We have an acceptable message.
I just came up with the term. They're not controlled opposition because they're not controlled, most of them that I know of. There could be one or two, and I'm not thinking in particular, but theoretically, yes, it could be. But it could be just co-opted opposition. That's where those guys are going. It promotes the distraction. We want to keep people distracted. So we'll just manipulate the algorithms on YouTube and Twitter, whatever, or give a little bit of boost to their popularity so everybody looks over there. Because if they look over there, they're not going to listen to these guys over here, like us, who are challenging and talking about things. Man, can you imagine how much impact our 75 subscribers are going to have in the world? Not much.
We love you guys, though. We do. And we do thank you guys for listening in and listening to us, rant and rave at microphones.
It is interesting how our content gets out there, though.
Yeah, it does seem to appear.
It's funny. I mean, we are here taking our time to talk to 75 subscribers. Our subscribers are taking the time to listen to 3 dumb shits on the internet with only 75 subscribers. So who's more pathetic?
Well, okay, here's another take.
I like poking humor at things.
Well, and just to show that this was actually a pretty common take. Working X hours a week is a meme that ethnic strivers and productivity gurus spam to compensate for or conceal that the only thing they really do is some kind of corner cutting, i.e. drop shipping, pyramid scheme, rug pull, etc. Here's another one. You think working 80 hours a week will save you? We're talking about labor arbitrage here. This is a financial term, and I'm guessing this guy's probably into finance or okay. You can be highly skilled, work 100 hours a week, never take a sick day, and still get laid off or replaced. Your merit always comes at a price for you and your employer. And, it's like when you, I think, and one of the traps I think that we can get, that we in the red pill, by being careless with our messaging, careless and lazy with our messaging, is, we push merit. And then you find out that all that merit that you thought you had because you are a top tier performer at your company, you are, they know you are, and they still fire you anyway because they can replace you for cheaper. So you find out that all that merit was really just labor arbitrage.
Or they could just fire you because someone doesn't like you.
Yeah, yeah.
And
or you're the wrong skin color.
Corporation, I'm still getting my paycheck. Let's get rid of that irritant.
Yep. Yeah. All your merit.
And corporations are not people. They have zero loyalty to you. Learn this. Yes, you're loyal to your company. I've been loyal to companies. I'm a team player. Yes, you can count on me. I'm loyal. Do they return any loyalty to you? No, because they're incapable. The corporation is a fictitious thing. A corporation does not have any feelings. A corporation, the entity, is incapable of having loyalty towards you. Theoretically, a leader of that could have loyalty to the workers. But once he retires, in about 3 months, nobody's going to remember his name. There's a new guy in there who has zero loyalty to you for your past accomplishments, for those long hours you put in. Oh, remember that time you saved the company from a catastrophic problem that was going to just devastate them and cost them over $1 million? Yeah. Damn, you got a pat on the back. But Orion Taraban says this in relation to women. So I'm going to co-opt that, take it in relation to corporations. Nobody's going to pay the plumber after the toilet is unplugged.
Amen. It's true.
Okay,
So-
you unplugged the toilet, you got paid for it.
Yep.
Now it's 2 years later. Oh, why the fuck are we paying this plumber? Whoa, don't you know he unplugged the toilet 2 years ago? Yeah, fuck that. Get rid of him.
So, the next three are from a fellow who Steve tells me was actually in the red pill, the old red pill from Steve's days.
Well, the manosphere.
The manosphere. Okay. We'll go. Oh, we'll go with the manosphere. This is Michael Cernovich. Even when I was on the grind, I didn't do more than 60 hours unless something broke. Then yeah, you do whatever. And I've experienced this too. Something breaks, you just do what you got to do. You only have 4 hours maximum of high cognitive function a day, unless you really start popping stimulants. Hustle and grind gurus are mostly scammers, just FYI. Okay. Interesting. And all of these tweets came out today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, all these tweets came out today. He's on a bit of a warpath on this hustle and grind scam, because this hustle and grind scam is being used to tell Americans that they are not worthy of their replacements. I read this one for you already. There are multi-billionaires on here with Enon accounts. I know at least 2 such cases. Nobody's impressed with the dumb fuck shit guys those guys are posting over on low IQ YouTube. Yes, Mr. Cernovich, we acknowledge that we are on YouTube, although most of you guys are watching from Twitter tonight, so welcome on in. But so this is a guy who's in the manosphere. And what he is telling us in the manosphere is knock it off with the grind set. Knock it off with the hustle. You are actually destroying men by doing this. And he's calling us low IQ. And I can't fault his logic in doing so. Chief. Okay, I got to pull this one up. Okay. Some of us work 25 hours a day, sniffs. And if you know what the sniffs he's referring to is, congratulations.
Yeah.
Chief, I love that. I love that one. That was a brilliant one. So here I'll pull this off. That's the tweets that I got from the red pill perspective. There's so much more that I've been involved with in that fight. However, I wanted to say this. What I found interesting about this is that there is awakening, particularly amongst the young people, young men, that hustle and grind isn't going to save them. And, you know, this situation by itself is not going to cause us any problems. We will go back to normal. You know, we talked a little bit about the Trump disillusion that's likely to set in, and I think that will happen at this point. You know, when people see that Trump is selling out the country, but with proper documentation, I think that's really when things are going to get dark. I don't, you know, we've talked about the coming collapse. You know, and I don't talk about it much, but there's probably, and I think we've talked about it a couple times, you know, there's a bigger collapse coming in the early 2030s, and it could come as early as 2029. But the average American man, I'm not talking about the top 1%. Frankly, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I do not give a shit about the top 1%. They are quite capable of taking care of themselves. We don't run this channel for the top 1%. We run this channel for the average men, the truckers, the day laborers, the construction guys. That's who this channel is for. Okay? And
Yeah, but we're not going to entertain those guys. We're going to stretch their mind. And you're going to be challenged. I hope you listen to us. But, you know, that's up to you.
Well, right. But paying attention to the discourse on Twitter specifically, I said at the beginning of the show, and I'll say it again, there is a volcanic rage sitting under this issue. And Musk Vivek Ramaswamy was also involved in this. His political career ended on December 26th. There's a specific tweet. I don't have it. He is now done and out. He will never hold an office of any importance in this country ever again. Musk severely tarnished his brand amongst the MAGA people. It's ironic. Markets were open on Friday, and on Friday, Musk basically told Americans to go fuck themselves in the face, and Tesla stock was down quite a bit. So there's probably some MAGA folks out there selling their Tesla stock right now that they just bought. So this has also hit Musk. But he came on and said this is a hill he's willing to die on. Well, congratulations. Tesla took a hit. Tesla took a hit on Friday. It took a hit again today. So, you know,
keep hiring subpar people with subpar IQ. Good for you, man.
Well, but they're going to save us.
Boeing 2.0.
This up. The U.S. is a group of immigrants from
Europe
Well, it
mostly.
started out European countries. That's our culture. It's a European derivative. People who came over here were risk takers who wanted opportunity, wanted to work hard. There were some really smart people. It was not lazy people who came over here. It was not the lower IQ people who came over here. It was higher IQ. So we have the mix of people we have, whether you believe me or not. The mix is the mix. You cannot educate someone into being smarter. You can educate them into being more intelligent, to refine their thinking, but it's not going to increase their IQ. Education doesn't increase IQ. Am I correct, Plutarch?
That is 100% correct. IQ is a
Okay.
heritable genetic
You
trait
got
from
a
the
lot
man.
of people underemployed, under-challenged, a lot of young men out there. Oh, that, you're only hiring 6% white people in that top, the SP 500 or SP 100. Okay. Those men who are not hired did not get any dumber. They're sitting around. They're out there someplace. You can't eliminate them. When
They're
times
smart.
get tough, they're still going to be out there.
Yep.
And they're going to be thinking, and this is the same caliber of men that got together in the Apollo program to put a man on the moon. Yeah, maybe they don't have the education, but they're still damn smart. What are you going to do when things get tough and these guys figure it out? What are you going to do?
Well, one of my concerns has been particularly if Trump pushes on uncapped immigration, but legally, is that the men are finally going to throw up their hands and say, that's it. There's only one way left. And that way is violence. And everyone thinks, oh, yay, finally the Civil War. No, this won't be a civil war. This would actually be a putsch. Putsch. It would look a lot more like a unending night of the long knives than it would an actual civil war. And we've talked about what a civil war would and wouldn't look like. If you go back to what was our second or third episode where we talked about the color of law enforcement, I think it was the title.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe
there are enough.
Go ahead.
There are enough law enforcement to police things in a civilized society.
Yeah.
But if things get unruly, you don't have enough enforcement out there.
Nope.
And I already mentioned, there's a lot of us guys who are not really fans of the police because those guys enabled the destruction of our family and us being removed from the involvement with our children. Am I holding them personally responsible? No. But I'm really not interested in coming to the rescue of those assholes who didn't back me when I was right. And my kids needed a father. And you fuckers, listen to the sob story. It also relates to the church.
You can suck
who
a
backed
cock.
her and not me.
Nick.
You know what? I'm not coming to your defense. No. And there are lots and lots of guys. Oh yeah. Some guy from India took my job. I was the best guy out there, or I was over, top 25%, whatever the fuck. Now I'm struggling, or I lost most of that, or you just took what I did in the past and you shit on me. Yeah, I don't really care. I'm not coming to your rescue.
Fuck
Mhm.
no.
I'll I'll see how things turn out. I'm not going to be out in the streets, not going to be leading the mob.
Yep.
Good luck to you.
I'm going to be sitting in the back, just going, yeah, this is interesting. Yeah. Okay. You know what? I'm a smart guy. After the whatever comes down, and I'll survive. Or, you know what? Maybe I'll die. Okay. Do you think there's a lot of other guys out there, smart guys that have that attitude?
I
Like me?
yeah, like Nick. Yeah, there are, and that's where we have so denigrated men in this culture, and then we turn around and tell them. So we denigrate men with one hand, then we turn around and tell them to be better with the other, and we're surprised. And so what I'm saying is, don't be surprised if when things fall apart a little bit, the knives come out for you. We did a show recently. It was called "The Keys to the Future," and in that episode, we went through a pretty detailed takedown of the Nietzschean culture that we live in, and why the first political party that understands that the millennials and Zoomers want absolutely nothing to do with that culture will win the next entire generational cycle. That I wasn't expecting to see an object example of that come up so soon. But this is exactly what that is. To the Nietzschean, if you can't compete, if you don't compete against the whole world and win against the whole world, you're not strong enough and you deserve to be displaced. And a lot of people said that or, in these threads. The
Yeah.
Indians said
An
that.
interesting thing, before the Westminster, I'm not sure if it's larger catechism or confession, but one of the things that was removed, and I think in the 20th century revision, was the sin of depopulation.
Interesting.
It's an interesting avenue you might want to go down. Just popped in my head. So
Well, okay. If we want, well, and one of the responses that was given to Musk was, look, dude, you keep banging the alarm about the population collapse. How are we supposed to have kids if we don't have good jobs? If I have to work 80 hours a week and I have to compete against the entire world and I'm killing myself for this job, how am I going to have time to have kids? Elon did not react well to that. Like, by the way, all the tools for censorship still exist on Twitter, and they were applied this weekend. I watched it happen to accounts. There's about 50 people lost their blue check marks. So yeah, it's the tool. They didn't take away the tools. They just promised not to use them. And then,
Well, Elon is a very smart guy, probably smarter than me. He's certainly more successful than me.
yeah.
Anybody that smart who doesn't realize the father key, that fatherless children are a problem in our society. And if you're going to fix the population program, you got to fix the father problem. Has he said anything about that?
Not a peep. He was raised by a single mom.
Okay. Well, you know what? I don't care whether he was raised by a single mom. He still understands it. And he also understands that to prepare the next generation, you need fathers. He can't be that dumb to not know that, but he's not doing anything about it.
In fact, he's making it worse.
So, is he acting independently to fix things, or is he part of the plan?
I think he's adjacent to it. I think he's so focused on his goal of Mars that he's uninterested in anything that gets in the way of that. And when you point out that, I mean, okay, here's a fun little fact. SpaceX is an ITAR restricted company. ITAR stands for International Trafficking in Arms Regulations. SpaceX cannot hire foreign engineers. They cannot. They have no H-1Bs because they're legally not allowed to. SpaceX is also his most successful company. The people who pointed that out to them were amongst the group that lost their blue check marks. They had their comments were forcibly what's the term for that? The D-ranked, so that you can't see like the he knows who the best engineers are. He knows where they are. They work for him on his rockets because he can't hire these supposedly high talent, geniuses from India to do his rocket work. He's legally not allowed to. Nick, you're on mute.
Yeah, I was told growing up, my grandfather worked with Van Allen. If anybody remembers who that guy is. Interesting.
Yes, Van Allen.
Interesting stuff.
The Van Allen belts are named after that guy.
Yeah.
Some of the best engineers in the world live right here, and they are swinging hammers on your roof. Okay, Mr. Elon. And he really did not like having that thrown at him. SpaceX, they did 134 launches, 133. There's one coming up in a couple hours, in an hour and a half. Okay, that'll be the final launch for the year. 134 successful launches to orbit. Like far and away the fastest launch pace in human history. It is an engineering achievement unparalleled in human history. Okay? All done with American citizens. Don't tell me that the answer is just to grind harder against the rest of the world. Clearly, the purpose of this stuff is to make sure that American engineers cannot succeed. That American engineers are not allowed to take engineering jobs. Why? Because American engineers want to make enough money to raise a family and put that family through school. And Musk doesn't want to pay them except when he has no choice, when he's legally required to do it. Then he'll do it. Okay. The hustle and grind is a scam. It's lazy thinking. And if you persist in doing it, all you will do is fan the flames of average normal men and even higher IQ engineers. And one day, probably 4, 5, 6 years from now, they're going to say, we've had enough of this. We're smart men. We know how to deal with this problem. And we will deal with it in the only way you have left us. Because if Trump does what Elon wants, then those men are going to come to the conclusion that the ballot box doesn't work. And what do we say? You have the ballot box, or you have the soapbox, you have the public square. Then you have what? The ballot box. Okay, Steve, what comes after the ballot box?
The boxing ring? I don't know.
Nope. The box of lead.
Yeah, okay.
The Second Amendment, which protects the First Amendment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want to make something clear. We're
That-
not there yet. We're not there
I
yet.
gotta make a point here.
Okay.
That's what the average men are gonna do. You know what the smart guys are gonna do? They know how the world works.
Mm-hmm.
You can do okay if you're gonna use lead. The best place to use lead. Shoot up that high voltage transformer that we don't produce in this country and takes 2 years to get from Korea. Oh yeah, you sabotage this, you sabotage that, because
Mhm.
you're just pissed off. No, and are you gonna catch those people?
Nope.
Yeah, maybe
You'll catch a few. You'll catch
one
a few.
or two. But you know what? They're gonna plan in advance. And all those smart people, yes, violence, potentially. I mean, I'm not advocating this. Understand,
We're not.
I'm not advocating this. I'm just saying the potential exists for these smart fuckers to mess with the system and sabotage things. And oh, this hasn't happened before. Bullshit. When the unionization effort was going, what did men do? They'd throw a spanner in the works. You know what a spanner in the works does? Do you know what it means?
It seizes up the machine.
It's a bunch of gears moving, and you take your wrench and you throw it down in there, and man, the gears come to a stop. It breaks teeth off, screws the whole thing up, costs a lot of money to fix. You know, the smart men will throw a bunch of spanners into the works.
You know,
And the average man will use lead, and it could get pretty unruly.
The reason that I focus on average men so much is because of one unassailable fact. There's a lot of them. If 31% of your society says that they are done, that's worse than the Great Depression, folks. The Great Depression was 25% unemployment. If 31% of your society decides that it's going on strike, nothing works. Nothing gets done. We don't even have to go to lead. We just all of the road work that's required, all of the rail line work that's required, just one day stops because we as a country have looked at men and said, fuck you. And who are those men going to be angry at? They're going to be angry at the people who took their jobs, first and foremost. Absolutely. That does include women. You know, we talked about this before in one of our streams where we said, you know, why do we think the police will be the first to go? Because the police are standing in the way of the men taking revenge on the women and the judges. We talked about that in our stream on the Civil War, okay. But also, you know, like Elon, and this would be what I would say to Elon is, look, dude, you keep pushing this, the men are going to pogrom, and this would be an ethnic pogrom. They're going to pogrom the Indians, and they're going to wipe out hundreds of thousands of engineers that you say you need. Congratulations, you played yourself. Okay. And who else are they going to go after? Well, they're going to go after people who sell the vision or actually are the top 1%. Because they view
financial, the upper financial people.
Yeah. Oh,
you can figure out who that is. I mean, it's a group. It's not a homogeneous group, but there's a certain perception of who the financial people are. Yeah, you're included.
Well, I would even say that it would include people like Musk. I mean, Musk now has history on Twitter of basically saying, fuck you, men. Literally, actually. and he's wealthy. I mean, like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
okay, like again, I don't want this, guys. Part of the reason I'm talking about this is because of how badly I don't want this. We're talking about a disaster that will probably set humanity back by 1 to 200 years.
Okay. I want to say that affirm what Plutarch is saying here. We are not issuing a threat. This is
No.
not a threat.
It's a pleading.
It's a warning.
Yeah.
Don't, for anybody listening, don't go down this path. Turn back, start to fix things, and actually fix things in a way that men want things fixed.
In a way that
Allow
helps
them to
them.
have a job and a family. And man, these guys will just be so damn productive.
Oh yeah.
So you can go that way. Don't go the other way. Because I don't control them. I'm not going to be the guy out there doing it.
Me either.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But no, I'm smart enough that I'm going to just sit back here with my popcorn and just eat popcorn.
Yeah, it's we are not condoning this. We don't think this is a good idea, but we're also smart enough to realize that if it happens, we should stay out of the way and let it happen. It's an ugly thing to say. I'm not a fan of putches.
That's reality, though.
Well, yeah, exactly. Natural law is still a thing, guys. And Nietzscheans out there should understand
Elena
that.
just said that. They need to fix family law. That's what I was just saying.
Yeah.
Modern family law in the U.S. goes against natural law. Therefore, I can say it's not going to, modern family law is not going to exist forever. Natural law will eventually prevail.
Mm-hmm.
The longer you prop up the facade in the injustice of family law, the more abrupt or painful the end of it will be. That's not a threat. It's just a projection of how I think the world works. And there's reversion to the mean?
Yeah, that's and so a lot of what another large chunk of what we saw on Twitter was people trying to say that doing what Musk says is the only way, and this is where veneration of smart people gets us in trouble. IQ is only one piece of the puzzle. Musk doesn't know what he doesn't know, right? And he's missing data that if he were now he learned some more data this past weekend. It was hysterical to watch. But we are now seeing that he may not care about the data. That's willful ignorance. That's different. But when a smart person is confronted with new data, they should be able to change their views. Okay. What we're talking about here is we're saying, look, there are actually two paths. There is a path that if we keep going down the path that we're currently on, Steve and Nick and I, we're all three of us on this channel for many episodes have been saying, look, if you keep doing this, that will happen. Right. Yeah, exactly. And so this isn't us.
I don't want it to, but
right.
Hey.
We don't want this to happen. But we look at the data and we say, well, it keeps going this way. It keeps going this way. It keeps going this way. Yeah, okay, this will happen. This will happen. Or there is an alternative choice. You can take the pain right now, and it will be painful to clamp down on the engineers. You're going to lose some of your favorite social media apps for a while because let's say you deport all the H-1Bs. There's hundreds of thousands of them. We deport them all. There's going to be economic disruption, but do you know what will happen? The engineers who are swinging hammers on roofs, they're going to go, wait a minute. You mean I can go back to my job? You mean I can get a market wage again? Huh, I might think about doing that. Huh. Hmm. Now they won't do it all at once. These are men who've been abused repeatedly. They're, you know, kicked puppies don't they're pretty shy. But
Yeah, but just think. These are men who said, okay. You fucked me over there. I still got to go earn a living. Guess I got to use my muscles now.
mhm,
I'll do it. They are survivor type mentality. Okay.
yep.
They've learned some things. They've been tested.
Yep.
Circumstances have tested them. They've tested themselves. They have more confidence. They have more knowledge now. They are more. They've enhanced their masculinity by going through the suffering and the hardship. So, can they step up and get the job done? Well, hell yes.
Yeah.
We'll just okay. It'll take a little bit, but yeah, okay. We'll figure it out and we'll get her done.
It does
Not a
take some
problem.
dislocation. It does. There is some because those guys are not in engineer. They talk about the shortage, right? Well, all these guys who have STEM degrees swinging hammers on roofs, they're not in engineering right now because the shortage was manufactured for cost control purposes. It's going to take time for them to get off the roof, get up to speed on the latest tech. Remember, they're smart, but they don't know everything about these modern day tech stacks that are used to run things like Twitter and Facebook and all that. They have work to do to get up to
That's
speed.
all bullshit. Oh, that latest tech stack is
I know.
just bullshit.
They'll
It's just
come
the
in and
trappings. And I got out
they'll
of,
learn it.
and then I had to get back into engineering. They had all these
Uh-huh.
computer systems. You know what? I was there back before CAD, where everything was lines on a paper. And, handwritten stuff. The knowledge was there. The
Yeah.
trappings of not being up to speed electronically or with the latest tech, who the fuck cares?
Oh, you
That's as
shouldn't
much
care.
of a hindrance as a help most of the time.
No, I agree. What I'm saying is it will take time for those men to get up to speed, remove a bunch of it and replace it with stuff that actually works. It will take time to get them off the roof and back to the engineering that they're actually good at. That's okay. It's
So
gonna
I
suck
can
for
have
a while.
software that's not fucking gigabytes long that works
Yeah, we could.
worse
We
than the
actually
shit
could.
I had in like 99.
Yes, we actually could. That's I talk to guys who still write stuff like that. Like this stuff exists. It is real. You can have it. Okay. I think I just accidentally paraphrased Ayn Rand's diatribe at the end of Atlas Shrugged. You can have all of this. Okay. There are hundreds of thousands of engineers in the United States who are not engineering. Yes, it's going to cost you some time. It's going to cost you some economic dislocation. It's going to be disruptive. But you know what else is disruptive? The night of the long knives. And I'll tell you which one I would prefer right now. I will take the short-term pain. It could be a year or two, and it would be a nasty, nasty recession. Your 401k is going to suck for a while, but you know what won't? Your life. Your water will keep running. Your sewer will keep sewering. That's not a word, but your electricity will keep flowing. Your software will keep working. The things that make your life work will keep working. The path we're on now, they will slowly degrade. You'll lose access to drinking water. You'll lose access to the sewer. You'll lose access to electricity at some point. Okay? You can't
The India
import.
guys, how many times they've had rolling blackouts through there? I've been there for a
Oh,
month.
yeah.
I was there like 10 years ago. I was like, it's terrible, man. And they're bringing that shit here. What do you think's going to happen?
Yep. There are in fact multiple choices in front of you. Do not accept the opinions of one smart man. He doesn't know everything. You don't have to say, oh, well, Musk is smarter than me, so I got to listen to him. He is, in fact, wrong. Actually, fairly frequently. There's a video of him talking about the gas thrusters for Starship, and another NASA engineer says, oh, well, why don't you just hook it up to this other system? And he stops, goes, yeah, we're going to do that. Completely redesigned the rocket, saved a whole bunch of weight. Okay. Musk doesn't know everything. Just because he says it doesn't mean that it's received gospel from God. Okay. There is another path out here if you want it, but it is going to require that you do things. One of the things that it's going to be required of you is you're going to get called racist. Lots of people will
Isn't Musk like the greatest, like the biggest deal ever, like the greatest man? You know, he's really good at what he does.
He is really good at what he does. He is. He's really smart too, and he's doing a lot of really cool things. I'm not going to take any of that away.
You didn't get where I was going with that, did you?
But well, go
You
ahead.
didn't
then.
get
The new Messiah.
I was trying to adopt a
Oh.
type of voice that
Oh, okay,
I was trying to do
okay.
a not Trumpy voice.
So what you're saying is Musk is not our savior.
Correct.
Earlier in the show, we said Trump is not your savior.
Correct.
He's not.
Nick, who is our savior?
Make him unmute again.
It's the Lord Jesus Christ. He's the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. He is the Savior. He actually currently reigns over all.
Okay.
So,
With the
Nick,
right hand of the Father.
So we have to trust in him and be resilient and be resourceful, but don't look for an earthly savior.
Okay, Nick, hang around after the show. I have another tweet on this subject that I decided not to show because it was just it was only tangentially related, but it's the kind of thing that I know that would set Nick off, and he's got his kids around, so but it's an outcome of this. Well, I don't know if you're okay, I can share it, but
No, they've probably seen worse.
Okay.
They're not here, but I mean they're in the other rooms. But yeah.
Okay. Here, I will share this then. This was actually posted here.
Oh, good night. And we want to bring them people here. Well, I mean, there's also another book that calls like a pile of excrement, burning pile of excrement, but there's that.
So yeah, this was posted earlier today.
Okay.
You know, I
Who
didn't
tweeted this?
Oh, it was somebody. They took it down, and so that was a screenshot from somebody else.
Oh, okay.
It's almost as bad as the Talmud.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Nick. Good thing.
Let's not go there, Nick.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
We have our private conversations, but let's leave them there.
That's all I'm saying. I encourage everybody to read the Talmud on that issue.
Well, anyway, it's like, yeah, that's what you're importing. People who hate your culture. And that the one of the other threads of this was, you know, of course, U.S. citizens should have a say in who gets invited in. And, you know, like we were talking earlier about, you know, the Indian guy who said, oh yeah, we're going to come in, take your 6-figure jobs and fuck your women. Okay. Let's see how that works out for you. Let's yeah.
You are.
Dude, have you seen these Indian guys trying to get the red pill? A lot of these Indian guys come into the red pill. They can't figure out why they can't get these white women to like them so much.
Because okay, you try that, you're not gonna get the women.
Nope.
And you come over here to take the jobs, and they're not gonna be 6 figures anymore. Oh man, I just feel for you.
Well, yeah. So you know, it's been this whole thing. You know, I to the red pill specifically, I would say tread carefully. Nietzsche is dead. We should leave him there. We should let him rot. Nietzsche is, I don't call it a philosophy anymore, but Nietzscheanism is inherently destructive, and you are now looking at the fruits of your philosophy. To all the Nietzscheans out there, you're looking at the fruits of your philosophy. Well, just compete, just be better than the rest of the world, man. Okay. What that means then is the United States must become like the rest of the world. It must become as well broken as and third. It must become like the third world. That is competition with the rest of the world. The only thing that can happen when you are the top 1% and you try and compete with the rest of the world is they drag you down to their level and punish you with experience. Okay.
Well, innovation and development is the answer.
Yes.
Red Pill has not been doing much of that lately. They're just rehashing old stuff, repackaging it. You know what? Develop something new. Unite some of these theories. Man, I listened to on VO. We'll forget what his full name is. VO interviewing Alex PWB, and Glenn was on there and Grid was on there, and they're talking about hypergamy and this stuff, and then they narrowly define it, and then that doesn't work, and talking about this and that. You guys are missing the whole fucking thing, because just because you can define something and say it's not true doesn't mean it's all not true. In other words, some of that, there's a kernel of truth in there. You got to take that out and you got to relate it to something over here. You're starting with a theory. And theories are debunked, and okay, that theory was wrong. We're going to take the truth of that theory, we're going to move it, and we're going to form another theory. That's how it works. Start doing that again, guys. That's what the red pill was about. It was about moving from theory to a better theory to a better theory. Do you ever arrive? Maybe, probably not. But don't stay stuck. Come on.
Yeah. And sometimes in the ways of science and reality, we have to accept that our pet philosophies may be incomplete. They may not answer all of the questions. It might be that your theory doesn't work. It might be that your theory never worked or could only work for a limited period of time. It's at some point you have to look at it and you have to be willing to look at something and go, that doesn't work anymore. What's next? And I'm not going to say that I do know what's next, but I can tell you what is not next, because the generations under the age of 40 are screaming in your face what isn't next. And it is not more of this hustle culture, compete forever,
666, bro.
Yeah. No, that's not what's next, because
My
that's
Bugatti.
my Bugatti. Right. That isn't what's next. That is what was, and that has been shown to create only misery and destruction. And you can either accept that, and if that means that you have to lay down your pet philosophies and your pet theories, then so be it. That is what honest, tough men do. They look at a problem and they say, this answer ain't working anymore. What are we going to do different?
Oh, you mean
Well,
that
we've
you
been at
actually
this
have
a
to
while.
deal with reality? Oh, you can't just have your head up your ass? Ooh.
Nope, you can't.
We've been at this a while. It's probably time to bring this stream to a close.
Yeah. Yeah, it's this has been a rough few days for me. I do get a little wound up about this immigration topic because I've been living in the center of it for 20 years. But what I would say to everyone, note and pay attention to the absolutely volcanic energy that appeared to come out of nowhere. People are going to tell you that it was, the left or botnet. No, this wasn't. This was a bunch of people, many of whom I know, I know their histories, all getting in there and putting their stories out there going, wait, you mean I can finally talk about this? It's finally okay to say things that might sound a little bit racist? Yeah, Tacticus, sure. Yes, just pick better theories. Well, we're always trying to develop better theories here, but theories are developed, not picked, in my opinion. But I get where you're going. You know, so for this, I mean, were there bots amplifying things? I'm sure there were, but there were a lot of very real people who were venting on Twitter. This was a beware of that. And my message to people like Musk and Trump, beware of that volcanic energy, because if you fuck this up, you are going to send us down a path that I can only describe as dark. Okay.
Now, for the few other influencers that might happen to watch us, take what we say, build upon it,
Please do.
use it. I don't care. This isn't about me. We want to explore these topics. You can just say what we said to your audience. Great. Okay. That just furthers the message, and then people will start thinking about it. You can build upon this.
Right. And
You
don't
can
think I hate on
alter, you
Indians.
can offer an alternative theory.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All those are positive things.
I don't think I'm here hating on Indians. Actually, I get along with many of them. I have
Yeah.
some of my best friends. I grew up are Indians. I dated a girl in college for about 3.5 years, smoking hot Indian girl. I'm just saying. But there is something to be said about importing people that don't share your values into your country that are not as qualified as the people present. That's all I'm saying.
And that's
They
all
don't share
that.
your culture.
Well,
Yeah.
and everyone was, a lot of people were calling people for racist for bringing this up, and it's like, no, this is about the culture you import. This is about the displacement of qualified individuals, and that's what this is about. As I said at the beginning, I've worked with Indians. I can work with Indians just fine. I don't mind. I don't hate them at all. Some of them are very intelligent people. In fact, one of them actually taught me quite a bit about what I know about software architecture. Okay. He taught me, not the other way around. I'm not saying that I'm superior than him, right? No. Indian dude taught me quite a bit of very useful stuff about my own job. And I'm grateful to him for that. And we are not saying go out there and be racist to an Indian or beat them up. In fact, we would say, please, for the love of God, capital G God, don't do that.
Don't.
I encounter all kinds of different people. Now just let me say, just to be honest, we all have our biases, okay? But set those aside. When you meet a man, evaluate the man. So, yeah, I've known people of all kinds of different ethnic groups. I evaluate the man. And
Correct.
it's just fine. We find means of getting along. Or if I say, yeah, you know what, this guy's kind of not quite there, I'll still be cordial to him. I'm not mean. I'm just not going to be his friend or close acquaintance. But, I evaluate the man. And I'm just honest enough with myself that I do recognize that I have biases. That
We all do.
doesn't affect my behavior towards another group. I can still comment on, society in general. I mean, I deliver up northern Minnesota on a Native American Indian reservation. I get along with everybody up there. I think they're great people. Do I have observations of their culture, the way things are kind of messed up? Yeah, I do. Okay, so what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I normally would step in and say, Nick, do you have anything else to say? But he's got kids, so I don't know if he can do a closing monologue. Um,
They're actually quiet right now. So
okay.
yeah. So
Okay.
basically, yeah. Look, you should hire your own people. They're qualified. No need to be a cheapskate and water down your country that you're supposedly trying to support. Yeah, you're actually furthering the destruction of society. Oh, maybe at a slower pace than what Tomalto Harris and her whatever the guy was Waltz were gonna do. But that's kind of what we predicted, right?
Yep.
Okay. Just kicking the bucket down the road with your stupid Nietzschean, selfish economic policies that actually will hurt hurt your product in the end, hurt the American populace as well, and further disintegrate our culture, but probably a little slower instead of giving us the pain we need at up front where we can actually adjust and restructure things.
All right. Well, I think that's it for this evening. We've gone on plenty of time here. Look, if you guys know any other guys out there, particularly thinking about getting engineering, please share this video with them so that they can, see just a little bit of what's going on. If you're a red pillar, please share this with your other red pill guys. Yeah, this is a little bit of a kick in the pants for them. That's kind of one of the things that I really saw as a result of this Twitter fight was that the red pill needs a kick in the pants because we are not serving men anymore. And I think that was a real kick in my ass to realize that our messaging and what we tell men isn't working. So for the red pill community, this is a little bit of a heads up. Hey, look, guys, we're failing out here. And if you disagree with us, please leave a comment. We love disagreement on here. And if you like what you heard tonight, drop us a like. You want to hear more, drop us a subscribe. And we will see you guys. I don't know what the plan is. I think
We're starting to do Wednesdays only,
Yeah.
starting on the 8th, correct?
Yes, on the 8th, we're probably going to move to Wednesday. Yes, we're going to move to Wednesdays only because frankly, it's killing us with our jobs trying to keep up with the production effort required to put into this. And we reserve the right to do more streams than that if something comes up that we need to address. But yeah, for the time being, we're going to drop back to Wednesdays only because frankly, all three of us have way too much work to get done.
Shit.
Yeah. So, yeah, and we're still going to be doing the Saturdays on Elena's channel. So, because Saturday morning is a not very work heavy time. So, yeah. So, we will see you guys January 8th. And thanks for listening.